All right. Hey, everyone. It's Jordy from Seven Eagle Group. I am super excited today to be talking with Timothy Cochran, Senior VP at American Corporate Partners. Just an absolutely incredible organization that connects veterans and mentor opportunities. I'm going to let Timothy tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. Timothy served in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years, and he also spent a year with the Army Reserves. After a 30-year career on Wall Street in New York City, he came on with ACP and is just doing an incredible job leading that organization. So Timothy, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to chat today.
Oh, I'm happy to, Jordy. Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. So can we start out, tell everyone a little bit about your military career, what you did. I know you went right from high school to the Marines, and tell everyone what you did in the Corps.
Yeah, so I went in and, I did great on the entrance test, so I was guaranteed electronics. Little did I know that I would be proficient in mine detectors. And the next thing I know, after almost 2 years of school, I wound up at Guantanamo Bay. And so that was my job as a mine detector repairman. And so, I was a young guy living in the dream. Sorry about that, Jordy.
That's all right.
I got to figure out how to make this sucker stop. There we go. Anyway, I had a great run in the Marines. I spent close to 2 years in Gitmo, and then I got out and came back here to New York.
And what got you going in the financial world? Did you know you wanted to do that when you were in the Corps? Or
I had no clue. One of the things that, you talk about American Corporate Partners is, who the hell was looking for a mine detector repairman in Lower Manhattan? Absolutely no one. So I wound up on 20 interviews I had no business even being on. I was lost. The guy who ran technology at the New York Stock Exchange was a former Marine. Friend of a friend referred me. And the next thing you know, he felt that, look, Timmy, if you could survive Paris Island, I could train you. And I wound up at the New York Stock Exchange as a technician fixing the ticker tape machines. Wow. I went on from there to become a stockbroker and build an independent floor operation at the New York Stock Exchange.
That's incredible. It talks of like the mentorship. I mean, just you happen to know somebody who knew someone else, and 30 years later, you had your whole, your business career was down that same path.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we tell the veterans, right?
Yeah.
Nobody signs up to be the mine detector repairman, right? So all of a sudden, you think you're going in some technology field, and now you're kind of obsolete. That doesn't translate out to a job right out of the gate. So having a mentor is ideal because they can help you translate those skills so that you wind up in a meaningful career. That's our whole mission in ACP.
Absolutely. I was fortunate enough to hook up with you guys about 5 years ago as a mentor, and I just love what you guys are doing. You have, I think, about 15,000 veterans who use the service or who have been connected with mentors. Talk a little bit about the organization and your mission and how you can help veterans.
Sure. So the quick is, ACP was founded by the #1 banker at Merrill Lynch, a guy named Sid Goodfriend. Sid happened to be going into the World Trade Center on September 11th when the second plane flew over his head. And like everybody else in America, he was extremely affected by the events of that day. And from that point on, he was trying to figure out how he's going to give back. His whole thing was, look, if you could go off and serve this country, one thing he knew for sure was every job he ever got, somebody picked up the phone and opened the door. Right? And that's where he came up with this brilliant idea. He was going to create a mentoring program, kind of like big brothers, big sisters to the military. Only in our case, your little brother's going to be a 220-pound soldier. And just help them as they transition out, translate those skills. It's a 1-year program, an hour a month, where you can meet with somebody who could be the head of logistics for Bristol Myers Squibb, all the way up to the groundskeeper for Ebbets Field from Major League Baseball. We have over 85 Fortune 500 companies that provide this one-on-one experience to just help the veteran not only translate their skills, but better their odds when they do get an interview, what to expect. A lot of it is acclimation. Look, I don't have to tell you what's going on here in America. I mean, I walked through Grand Central Station just before we started being quarantined and there was no people. That's unheard of. And so the job market right now is going to be really, really tough. But look, the veteran comes to the table. I get to talk to CEOs literally weekly, and they know that they want veterans. They know that you come equipped with this great foundation, but they don't have an idea of how to get to you. One, two, who knows better than who's going to work best at AIG than an AIG employee? So when you get paired up with somebody, they can help better your odds when you do get that interview, so that you're steps ahead, because they already know within their organization, or at least in the career path, exactly what you're going to be up against. It's, they already made the mistakes for you.
Right.
And so you don't know what you don't know, right? I never knew I'd be a stockbroker. I never dreamed of going into financial services. But all of a sudden, right place, right time. We had a bit of a Marine Corps mafia at the New York Stock Exchange. Guys who kind of grabbed a hold of you once they saw that little tie clip and said, hey, come on, kid, I'll show you how it goes. That's what mentoring's all about.
Absolutely. And I think, I don't know, talk about this, but I think the internet gives people a false sense of hope. The way you can go onto like a job board today and sit there and go apply, thinking that's going to get you one step closer to getting hired. Talk about how mentoring just blows that away, how you can't compare the two. It's like apples and oranges. When you want a job, build a group of mentors around you who are going to help you. And don't rely on the monsters and Indeeds of the world.
You got to do the work. Look, first of all, and if you don't have a bachelor's degree, right, and almost 40% of people who come into our program don't, you could hit that button till you're purple. And without having somebody at that company and you don't hit the prerequisites, hell, a lot of companies won't even look at you if you don't have a bachelor's degree. But the key is that direct referral. When you get a mentor from ACP, it's like I give you the chairman of your little board who's going to help guide you. Look, and we don't put any onus on our mentors to give them, to make sure they get the veteran a job, because not every one of our veterans is looking for a job, one. Right. Two, the ones that do, it's just that person there who knows where you fit and is going to help guide that process. But look, I think that the chamber put out a number that 85% of your, I'll figure this out someday, Jordan. 85% of jobs received in the U.S. last year were by direct referral, right? Having somebody who can open a door and say, hey, take a look at this guy.
Right.
Listen, in this environment, forget about it. If you don't have somebody, look, I'd love to say all our veterans are these great patriots who left small town USA to go serve America. But the fact of the matter is they're like me. It was the best option in town. College wasn't an option for me. And so off I went. And I came out with these great skills that the Marine Corps taught me. But I didn't have a network. And that's where, having somebody opening up their network who might have 8, 10, 12 years experience in the career that you're looking for. I mean, that is crazy and valuable.
Invaluable, absolutely. Talk a little bit about, listen, we all know this is a brutal time for our country right now. You have a lot of the military veterans and spouses who are losing jobs, losing their source of income. The wheels are falling off the car, and they feel they're in a tough place. How can ACP help them get through this tough time period?
So ACP, right? We do one thing and one thing only. It's this one-on-one full year mentorship, right? So all you had to do was serve post 9/11, active duty, 180 days, or be active duty military spouse, and then you qualify. Once we get you paired up with a mentor, they're going to be with you for the entire year through this process, helping you figure out exactly what you want to do. If you're already out and you're just lost your job, right, to have a mentor who's got a network, which is we can keep going back to, but that is really the key, right? Don't panic, right? You got great skills. You've got this great foundation. You're steps ahead of the guy who is out there, just coming out of school or anything else, because companies really want you. It's being able to translate those skills, especially into a resume or into interview skills, and the right questions to ask and the right questions to answer and how to answer them. I mean, that really is the key to this whole thing. So not only do you get a mentor from ACP, but you also get a staff person assigned to you. ACP has almost 50 staff, And that's where all our funding goes. So who's going to help you provide resources. They're going to be telling you about opportunities. We had over 30 events last year, everything from job hiring events where companies call us up and say, hell, we're looking for engineers in the Permian Basin. And we show up with 200 resumes that match the jobs that they're looking for, and you get this one-on-one opportunity to talk to somebody in a hiring manager. So being part of the ACP family, signing up, I mean, look, there's no cost. So why wouldn't you, we talked about it before we got on here. Yeah. You're nuts not to take advantage of this thing. I remember getting in my car after going to interview after interview with my wife of 30 years now, with tears in my eyes saying, I'm never going to get a job because I couldn't understand a word they were asking me.
Yeah.
Having a mentor be able to decipher that stuff that we learn in the military, is key. Yeah. The other thing is sticking with a job, right? Because here's the hardest part, folks. All of a sudden, we throw off that uniform. We speak a different language out here. We're going to get into a workplace that, hell, just imagine all of a sudden, I'm working with guys with Wharton degrees, Princeton degrees. I was like a fish out of water. The hardest part was month 8, month 9 of really acclimating, because all of a sudden, it's not your first sergeant anymore. It's people who want to think outside the box. So it's a whole nother world. That's where your mentor is going to help you.
Stick you through. And one thing I love about your site, because I'm on there all the time and I'm watching, is, when a veteran puts out a request, a question to the audience, it's amazing how many in the community help out and respond and say, hey, I'm here for you. What do you need? It's just that community of the military helping each other is just amazing to watch.
Well, you said it on ACP AdvisorNet, where you go. It's kind of like LinkedIn to the military. General Petraeus walked into Sid a number of years ago and said, look, Sid, this is incredible, the one-on-one part, the mentoring piece. But there's 200,000 plus veterans separating service. How are you going to help all of them? And that's when they built ACP AdvisorNet. Yeah. So you can go on there, put your zip code in. And unlike LinkedIn, where God bless them, I love LinkedIn. Make sure you're on LinkedIn. If you listen to this, get like you said, you need a group helping you through this process. But you go to ACP AdvisorNet, there are tens of thousands of advisors, people like yourself, all the way up to all of our companies. I think we have 850 companies on AdvisorNet, where you could put in your zip code and find out, small town USA, what you left, and you find out that there's an operating manufacturer of Lockheed Martin right down that dirt road that you weren't down there. And the other thing is, like you said, you could throw a question in there and get 10 answers from across the country, a broad section of that career, to give you answers so that you can really make, good decisions and wind up in a meaningful career.
Yeah.
One thing that, of the men and women who went through our program, 17 into 18, we had 84% of them still in those jobs a year later. 84% retention.
Wow, that's awesome.
So you see, I'd love to say all our companies are doing this out of the goodness of their heart, but hell, they're doing it because, one, they can identify talent. It's a great community service program for their people. But hell, when you see it costs, what it costs. Companies about 30% of somebody's annual salary to onboard them. Last thing they want to do is lose them at month 8 and month 9. And guys like you who are placing these people, you don't want them to walk. You want them to be quality people. Having a mentor is that guy on month 8 that on a Saturday morning you could pick up a cup of coffee with, or on the phone and say, hell, how do I better acclimate? How do I get along with my colleagues? What should I be doing, when they're telling me this, because I don't feel comfortable, so that I don't wind up leaving that job and winding up underemployed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really.
Yeah. I'm a huge believer of what you guys are doing at American Corporate Partners. Any veteran listening to this, run to this site, sign up. It costs you nothing, and it'll get you on a path to success in your career, so you don't feel alone. You got people there who are going to help you and support you every step of the way. Timothy, again, thank you so much for sharing your story and telling everyone a little bit more about your incredible site.
Thanks a lot, Jordy. Thank you for your support.